Some breaking news. The 49ers are hiring Raheem Morris to be their new DC. This comes on the heels of Mike LaFleur taking the last head coaching job in Arizona, so now Raheem decides to come to the Niners. Now, Raheem Morris was a finalist in Arizona for the head coaching job, but it felt like that was always either going to Clint Kubiak or Mike LaFleur. It ends up going to LaFleur. So, off rip for the 49ers, this was just a great hire. For myself and most fans, there were like three known candidates out there. It was Jim Schwartz, it was Gus Bradley, and it was Raheem Morris. And out of the three, I think everybody wanted Jim Schwartz to be the guy. But if not him, Raheem Morris would have been a good hire. And then giant gap, Gus Bradley, it really would have felt like we were taking a step back from Bob Saleh there. And I think in hindsight, we can say that Jim Schwartz was probably never going to happen. For one, his whole situation in Cleveland is super odd. We don't know if he's going to leave. We don't know if the Browns will even let him leave. The whole thing is just really up in the air. We have no idea, and right now, frankly, none of the NFL knows what's going on with Jim Schwartz. So that's for one. And then two, Shanahan has a thing where he really does only like to work with people the people he knows, or like buddies of his. That is his whole thing. If you go back, Steve Wilkes in 2023, that was the first time as an outside hire. Shanahan didn't have a prior relationship with him, and we quickly saw how badly that turned out. From Shanahan kind of scapegoating him a bit, kind of throwing him under the bus. If you remember the whole debacle with him having to move from the booth to the sideline, he was furious at Steve Wilkes. You go back to the Super Bowl, he calls a timeout because he hated Steve Wilkes' coverage out there so much, and he basically fires him right away. So I think Shanahan was always going to go with the buddy of his, and I think he and Jim Schwartz had potential to butt heads. So this is starting to make a lot of sense. And as for Raheem Morris in LA and Atlanta, he ran like two different systems. So in LA, it was a lot more of the cover 3, cover 6, Vic Fangio style stuff. We talked about Fangio when we were talking about Philadelphia a few weeks ago. And he used to run a lot of stuff like that. But then he went to Atlanta, and you started to see a lot more of what the Niners currently run, which was like cover 4, kind of playing back, similar to the Robert Saleh bend don't break sort of coverage scheme. I'm curious to see what that looks like with the Niners. I really hope that we start to deviate a little bit from that. I would love a few wrinkles in our coverage because it kind of feels like we are really predictable on defense with the way we're currently running things. So I'd love Raheem Morris to be able to expand it a bit, really bring in his own voices. And that is a question. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because we know Shanahan doesn't like to deviate too much from that respect. He likes to keep things simple. He likes to let his offense be the thing that drives the team and for the defense not to get in the way. So I don't know how many new wrinkles we'll see, but I'm hoping since Raheem Morris has been his buddy for so long that he will allow him a bit more creative freedom. The main things I'm super excited about with Raheem Morris in particular, what he has done with edge rushers as a defensive coach has been awesome. You go back to winning the Super Bowl with the Rams. Leonard Floyd had a career year, 10.5 sacks, really got himself a ton of money in the last half decade, built off that year. Von Miller signed that giant contract in Buffalo off of his amazing performance that in 2022 when they won the Super Bowl, or 2021, I should say. Von Miller with them was really, really dominant, and he looked amazing. And then if you go to Atlanta, James Pierce Jr. as a rookie with 10.5 sacks, and he was a super huge impact player for them in the second half of the season. And I'm really curious to see how that translates with Bosa and Mykal Williams. Can Raheem Morris get the best out of them? I know Mykal Williams is very different than what Raheem Morris would usually go for. Not a big speed guy, just strong, holds the contain on the edge. We'll see about what he does with Mykal. And as far as the back end of the secondary goes, Raheem Morris's teams have usually had solid to good secondary play. We saw that in Atlanta, of course, with A.J. Terrell being one of the better corners in the league, and then D. Alford stepping in as a young player and actually playing really great ball for them. And most importantly, especially when you look at the Niners, is that his teams historically have had good safety play. Especially if you go to Atlanta, one of the first moves that they made under him, or I'm not sure if it was one of the first, but a huge move they made was getting Jesse Bates in free agency, spending premium dollar to go get one of the best safeties in football. He comes there and has been a consistent top 3 to top 5 safety in the last few years. Constant impact player. So I would love to see Morris shake up the secondary, get a few guys out of there. We already know Shanahan doesn't like Renardo. Maybe you change out Renardo. You, for the love of God, have to address safety in some way with Malik Mustafa maybe taking one of the spots, but you desperately need another safety. So Hopefully Raheem Morris could bring in a guy that he would like. And yeah, that's the stuff I'm super excited about. But one quick story before we head out here. Shanahan and Morris really do go all the way back. And there's a reason why so many people thought we would go with Raheem Morris, and we did end up going with him. So they've been together at 3 separate stops. You go back to Tampa Bay in 2004, over 20 years ago. He was there with him for 2 years. You go back to Washington, 2012 to 2013. He was with him for 2 years. And then, of course, you go to Atlanta, where they were together for 2 years in 2015 and 2016. And now this will be a 4th as they, join up in San Francisco. Of course, they've played each other quite a bit. We've played the Falcons a few times when they've had Raheem Morris. And we've played, of course, when he was with the Rams. We played them a ton. So a lot of respect there. And last thing, there's this really cool story. If you go back to their Tampa Bay days, this is over 20 years ago. In this really awesome book, it was by Mike Silver. It's called The Why Is Everything. That is high on my off-season priority reading list. I just recently ordered the book. I'm super excited for it to come in. I'm going to give it a read. But in that book, there's a story about Raheem Morris and Kyle Shanahan, and that really shows how close they are. If you go back to they were at the NFL Combine, and at 2 a.m, they're trying to get into some place, and Raheem Morris is tackled to the ground by police officers who immediately arrest him, and because there's an active warrant for somebody, and they arrest him, and then Shanahan fully protests against it. It's getting up, yelling at them, demanding IDs, demanding badge numbers, because he believes that Raheem Morris was being racially profiled and was fully innocent. And yeah, even Shanahan ends up getting arrested for his friend, was in a full rage to protect his friend, which is I just think super cool. And they both end up getting arrested in the whole ordeal. Turns out Raheem Morris was not the guy they were looking for. Obviously, it was they misidentified him. So maybe Shanahan was kind of right about the racial profiling thing. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that cool story. Really show how tight these two are. And that partnership between the two is going to be awesome. Hey, I want to thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, if you could drop a like, that'd be great for the channel. It just helps get the video out to more people. And if you're enjoying the content and you want to see more, it would be great if you could hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 200 before the end of the month, and all support is greatly appreciated. So I want to thank you so much again for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day.